career to helping organizations succeed with Drupal. Most recently, as the CTO of Pelsera and serving on the board of directors for the Drupal Association in Colombia. He also is the co creator of the IXP initiative within the Drupal community, which we look forward to talking more about today. Mike Anello has relied on OpenAI for his intro, and OpenAI says that Mike Anello, Ultimike, is a seasoned Drupal developer with over 15 years of experience. He specializes in Drupal consulting and training through his business, which is Drupal Easy. I'm adding that in because OpenAI didn't know that. Ensuring clients leverage Drupal's full potential. Mike is a notable community contributor and advocate, sharing his expertise and insights widely. Carlos and Mike, welcome to the show and thanks for joining us.
Always good to be here.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm John Picozzi, Solutions Architect at EPAM, and today my co-hosts are Avi Schwab, Technical Product Consultant at ImageX. How's it going, Avi?
Hey, everybody. Nice to be here again.
And last, certainly not least, and joining us as usual, Nick Laughlin, founder at Enlightened Development. What's going on, Nick?
Pretty happy to be here. Looking forward to it.
All right. Now, as we do, let's turn it over to Martin Anderson Klutz, a senior solutions engineer at Acquia and a maintainer of a number of Drupal modules and recipes of his own, to talk about our module of the week. Martin, what do you have for us this week?
Thanks, John. Have you ever wanted to use Cloudflare's Turnstile web service to secure Drupal web forms as an alternative to more intrusive CAPTCHA widgets that force users to select squares that contain traffic lights, cars, or bicycles? There's a module for that. It's called Cloudflare Turnstile, and it was created in September of 2022 by Adam Weiss, who goes by Great Matter on Drupal.org. It has a 1.1.13 version available, which works with Drupal 9.4, 10, and 11. It is actively maintained and has security coverage. There are 6 open issues, 3 of which are bugs, and 2 of those are postponed, which is all pretty good considering the site is officially in use by almost 4,000 sites, according to Drupal.org. Now, anyone who maintains a Drupal site is well acquainted with the need to mitigate form spam submissions. Best practices around which tool to use are an ever-changing conversation. Recently, Google announced that reCAPTCHA implementations will need to be associated with a Google Cloud account and will need to enable payment for anything that exceeds the free allowance of 10,000 assessments per month. reCAPTCHA v2 widgets are notorious for the challenges they can present to actual users, particularly image challenges. In addition, a 2023 UC Irvine study concluded that the true purpose of reCAPTCHA v2 is as a tracking cookie farm for profit masquerading as a security service. So it's definitely worth considering other solutions. Cloudflare developed Turnstile as a CAPTCHA alternative designed to provide security while minimizing the friction for actual users. More importantly, Turnstile never harvests data for ad retargeting. A free Turnstile account can create up to 10 widgets with unlimited usage. The Turnstile module plugs into the existing Drupal CAPTCHA ecosystem, so it can be an easy swap out for anywhere you're currently using CAPTCHA widgets. So let's talk about Cloudflare Turnstile.
Can I just start by saying that I love Cloudflare just in general? Like, I feel like they provide so much value to the internet, just as a company, which, I'm not typically like rah corporate, entities, but Cloudflare is one of the good guys. It feels like. So Martin, just to clarify here, you don't actually have to be using Cloudflare like for your domain. Like your domain doesn't have to be routed through Cloudflare to use Turnstile, correct?
That's correct. It's a completely separate service from sort of their, CDN and other services.
Yeah. And so I just kind of walked through this with a client. You do have to create a Cloudflare account, right? Just like put in your email address and password. Um, that's the only thing. Once you get into that workflow, um, their Turnstile like service is one of the options that's there. So it is like for folks that don't have any association with Cloudflare whatsoever, they still have to like get into the service somehow, but you just have to create an account and then you can go through setting up a Turnstile widget.
This is actually awesome on a bunch of different levels, because I think anybody that's listening right now that's ever had to identify crosswalks or traffic lights or motorcycles is like, oh, please, like I don't have to do that anymore. Sounds great. I know for my own website, I actually use like WAF rules within Cloudflare to like on my forums to say like, hey, if this person doesn't fit the criteria, like challenge them. But this seems like it seems like it's probably a lot less friction than that.
Yeah. So I've got a couple like quotes from the studies that we've got linked we'll have linked in the show notes, but I did like so many deep dives into this stuff lately. But John, you mentioned like clicking all the things. One of the citations the study says is that they estimate that during 13 years of its deployment, uh, humans spent 819 million hours on solving reCAPTCHAs, which corresponds to $6.1 billion in wages, which is a lot of
Wow.
time. And also, the interesting part is that before Google bought reCAPTCHA, it was actually being used to solve like book scans. So basically to actually figure out words in scans of books that didn't totally make sense. And it was doing an amazing job at like there's data on that too, but they used it productively for a long time before it was turned into a ad tracking mechanism, basically.
So I have a question about it. I don't know if this is maybe a stump Avi or stump Martin on this, but the free version gets you up to 10 widgets. Does that mean is like it one widget per site, or is a widget like it can appear on 10 pages within your site? Like what does that mean,
What's
10
a widget?
widget?
Yeah. So a widget can have multiple domains associated with it. But I would assume I have it. I would assume a widget is basically like you would have one widget for each site, probably. You could like if you had a multi-site, or if you had a whole
Right.
bunch of sites that were kind of in the same bucket, you could probably do that. But essentially a widget is a single ID. So as many places as as you would want to share a unique ID, you
Okay.
could put that widget. If you wanted to put one
So-
widget on all of your sites, you could do that.
So if you were like a brand and you had a bunch of sites and you wanted you could use all the same widget, but if you were a company and you were using this for your clients, you wouldn't want them all using the same widget.
Why not? Like because it's not capturing information, right? It's not capturing analytics. So maybe I'm
I
playing
don't-
devil's advocate a little bit. But
I
I'm
don't
trying to
know.
figure out what's the value of a free account.
I guess from my standpoint, if I'm providing this as a service to clients, like each client's going to get its own widget with its own ID. It's not going to be sharing like my widget ID across all of their accounts. But that's just me. I mean, I guess
You would
there's
want to have.
no real
I would want
reason
to have
to
a
do it.
separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, a separation of concerns. You're not going to want to have the same secret key on a whole bunch of different client accounts. I mean, I would not.
I think the other thing that's worth mentioning too is the enterprise account also allows you to swap out the Cloudflare branding in the actual widget, so you can actually have more of like a white glove widget. So
Oh,
Got it.
interesting.
Got it.
Question, Martin, you may or may not know the answer to this since we're playing Stump the module of the week person. I'm assuming there's some sort of key you have to put into the module. Does that then get saved into Drupal config?
Yes.
Avi says yes. Okay.
It's a great
so this
impression
is-
of Avi that Martin just did. I don't know if everybody caught that.
right.
Martin's lips didn't even move. It was amazing.
It's
Sorry.
going to be his
I
new.
also I proposed this and I've been in the process of installing it for a client and also for the Midcamp site. We're gonna be rolling it out
So
there too. But yeah, so when you create the widget, you add any number of domains. Like I said, they can either be domains from an existing Cloudflare site, or they don't have to be. So for the client that I set up just a couple days ago, I added their root domain, so whatever.org. That covers all of the subdomains too, so like dev, stage, etc. Then I also added, we're still using Doxel there, so I added doxel.site. You could add ddev.site. And so just by adding those, then you can use that that widget on, a local dev stage prod. Once you add that, you get the same kind of key secret pair. So there's a public key and a private key. There is a space for that in configuration, and usually, typically, that would get saved to save directly out to config. You could also, I know for Midcamp, the repo lives in a public GitHub, and so you could swap that out for an environment variable.
yeah,
If you're not storing if you're not storing secrets in your repo.
yeah, that was kind of where I was going. Is like you might want to combine this with like the key module to kind of like not have that saved there. But either way, I mean, I think better reCAPTCHA or better spam deterrents are always good. So yeah, we appreciate you bringing this one to us, Martin. If folks wanted to reach out to you, suggest a module of the week, talk more about CAPTCHA or reCAPTCHA or anything really, how could they go about doing that?
We're always happy to talk about either current or past modules of the week or candidates in the Talking Drupal channel of Drupal Slack, or folks can reach out to me directly as ManClue on all of the Drupal and social platforms.
Thanks, Martin.
See you next week.